Well, happy Friday, knees up, Mother Brown, and welcome back to the Two Revs on Philosophy. Reverend Tony, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. I missed it last week. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I was a bit like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do I do? But there we are. Hello, Hannah. Hello, Princess Elsa. I hope you're okay.
Hey. It was so good to see them last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, really good.
Brilliant.
But yes, hello. Oh gosh, the comments are going up already.
I know.
With us, Daryl, Mum, obviously, and not my
mother-in-law is here as well. Yeah,
your mum. But yes, hello. Oh, hello, Alison. Not seen you in such a long time.
So, what has Reverend Tony been up to, my dear boy?
Oh, we've been doing lots of stuff for the Rainbow Project. We've just had some good news, so we've got to sort out how we're going to take that forward.
Yes.
More Rainbow Project stuff. Housework, which is really boring, and we have Mum for a week. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Excellent. I even got to say hello before the show.
You did, yes, you did. How was your week been? Fortnight.
Well,
apart from the bunged upness.
Yeah, I feel absolutely pants, to be honest with you, but a darn sight better than yesterday. So it was quite a relief to not run the risk of infecting anyone for last night's service.
Yes,
really, it worked out quite well.
I hadn't realised, and when I always sort of at least try and catch the first bit, and then a couple of messages if I can. But and I thought, what's this insanity? I don't understand.
Well, the thing was, the hall was pre-booked by the Littleport players, and I wanted to do something, and it had been literally today is a year. In 3 hours' time, it will be a year since he walked through our door. The lovely Kevin Hales, what a wonderfully uplifting and wonderful man. And I wanted to do something for him, and I just thought, you know what, we've got this video, let's make use of it and show people, the quality of work of the older generation of mediums. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to spiritualism, he was still quite young, but
yeah.
But it was just nice to be able to do that for Margaret, his lovely wife. I won't call her his widow because they're still together.
Of course.
And it's just so wonderful to see it all. And I better get back into the list before I miss everybody.
I was thinking it's moving really quickly.
Yeah, it is. So hiya to Facebook user. If that's Mum, hi Mum.
It might be Tony and Eunice because the next couple of messages down it says Tony and Eunice. So
Shelley's saying hello to Hannah and family. We've got the lovely Tony and Eunice. I will be absolutely perfectly fine for Sunday. Don't worry. I've been dosing myself up like a Billy-O. I feel so much better than I did yesterday. I literally couldn't lift my head yesterday. It was such an effort to literally sit in this chair. So, and I can actually breathe again now, which is, and I'm not nipping for a pee every 5 minutes either, which is fortunate. Yes, it does. It seems to be doing the run.
Yeah, Michael's down with it, and Jason had it, and I got chesty, but I didn't get anything else. So I'll touch wood.
Yes, well, healing to everyone who has a cold. And yes, it was mind blowing, and it was lovely rewatching Kevin's work because we it's really weird. You remember certain things. I've always never needed to look at the video to remember the way he talks to people, the way he, that excitement of getting a right answer. That's it. And the way his young guy Daniel kicks in and kind of takes over half the time. It was such a pleasure to watch. Really, really was. Hello, Christine Davis. Good to see you, my darling.
Yeah.
Angela Ellison.
Hello, my darling. Hello.
And I am thankful. Yes, I am reminded. Bliss hasn't done the StreamYard cookies right. I did send her the link on how to fix it, but
Yeah.
if anyone does have the problem with the Facebook user, there is a link at the bottom of the text on this post where you can click streamyard.com/Facebook and you can authorize StreamYard to take your picture and your name.
It's so easy. It's so easy. It takes 2 seconds and it then pulls your, it doesn't pull your information. It just takes your name and the photo off Facebook and brings it through. If you've done it, you might have to close StreamYard down and come back in.
Yes, sometimes you do have to shut the web page down and do
then
it,
start again, and it refreshes. But yes, oh dear, it was lovely seeing Hannah. It really was. It was. But
absolutely,
I hope she gets all the cards and things that are getting sent as well.
Yes, absolutely. Among other things that are on the plot.
And funnily enough, just before you put that post out, I was on the phone with somebody and we were talking about, it was a church had rung me about a special and what could I do with them, because their idea, it was really a strange conversation. I know we're going down a rabbit hole again, but
we always do, mate. Let's be honest.
Their idea of a special was they just have a medium on in the middle of the week. And I thought, no, if you ask me to do a special for you that you are charging for, I want to do something. So I said, like, I went to South Empsall Church, which is a lovely little church near us, and I did a tie-dye special.
Yes.
What's that? So I explained, tie-dye squares, people touch them, put a raffle ticket on, you start a blind reading. So you start reading from the tie-dye and then say, I've got number 53, who's got it? Do you understand the information? And carry on with the reading. Oh, that's clever. And I said, yeah. And it's like when I came to Littleport and Hannah gave me the encaustic art she'd done for me, which is hung up in the bedroom of the caravan here.
Yes.
And I said, every time I look at it, it's different, because I see something different in it. And I see messages coming through from my loved ones in spirit, about stuff that's going on in my head. And I said, oh, I watch Littleport sometimes. Who is it? And I says, it's Hannah who does Bully Special Prize. Well, I didn't say Hannah, actually. I said Princess Elsa, because the back of the painting is signed Princess Elsa. And it was like, oh! So, yeah.
Brilliant.
So that's where I was going with it. Hannah's art is wonderful.
Yes, it is.
It really, Liz Wackers, you've done the StreamYard thingy.
You've done it. You've done it, babe. You're back online.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze then, but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
I know what? I know, Donnie. It's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful.
And Lisa Hunt liked the tie-dye mode.
It's really good. I'll bring it when we come to Littleport. I'll bring it and we'll see what we can do. I'll show you it. How do you get 7?
Buying lots of raffle tickets. I will. To be fair, I will say, if anyone wants a commission, give her a couple of weeks to get home and sorted and everything.
Yeah.
But she does do commissioned work as well. Nice little plug there for you, Hannah.
Yeah. Samantha's there somewhere. Yeah, up there on my screen.
Yeah. There we go. And hello to Minty May.
Hi.
I can't get you up. It's not working.
There
we go.
Yeah.
Hello, Minty May.
Like the tat. I'm not allowed anymore yet because I've got an anticoagulant and I bleed.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Plus, Mike pulls his face up and goes, "You don't need any more." Of course you do.
Bless you. And Lisa is in Canterbury, in Kent.
Oh,
so we are getting about, and I know that there's someone watching from France. And Mum has the 7. I know someone who's actually got more. Believe it or
Wow.
not.
Yeah,
I
mine's
know someone who's got more.
framed. Mine's framed in the bedroom, and so's Jean's. So's Jean's,
Yes,
because Jean got one as well.
exactly. And and my cousin would like to point out she's in Southery. Southery, which is not too far from Littleport on the grand scheme of things.
Okay. I was a bit lost then.
Now, I will just briefly apologise in advance if I mute my microphone and duck. It's just because I'm having a bit of a blow. So bear with me. You carry on.
Okay. I was a bit confused then, Ruth Hanslip, because my mic was in the way and all I saw was I'm in South, and I thought, South what?
South Shields, South France.
Yes. I do like South Shields.
Do you know, it just popped into my head. Must be psychic.
Yeah, it's up from where I'm from, like, oh.
Aye, it is, lads.
Aye, it's up like Tyne Tunnel way, how? I can still slip into the accent if I need to.
I think everybody. Do you know what? I love the way Ian McKellen slips into his original accent when he gets Mardy.
Yeah, he likes proper mushy peas.
Does he now?
Yes, he was doing a one-man show in the Crucible, and our friend worked for the Crucible Theatre as their marketing manager, director, and they were her and her wife were talking about mushy peas, and he said, "What, from like a tin?" And she said, "No, proper ones, like your steepy peas." Like, what do you mean? So she bought him a box of Bachelor's steepy peas with a tablet in that you soak overnight, and it, yeah. So they are. Ian McKellen likes steepy peas.
Absolutely, and he does give good advice for people who are doing college work.
Yes.
If you do not study hard, do you know what will happen? You shall not pass. No,
I knew where that one was going.
One thing I love about having a cold is that it makes me sound butch. And on that,
no, dear, it really doesn't. Oh, Lisa Hunt's family from Durham, Lumley, Lumley Castle, Castle. You're canny lads, Nick and Tony.
Yeah, don't forget Sam's a northerner as well.
Aye, she is. She is. I'll try and get back to the normal accent after this.
Yeah. Anywho, so what has been your thoughts this week? Obviously, we've got a bit of distance here now.
Oh wow!
Tim, lovely.
Tim Abbott, DSNU, hi from Switzerland, sitting in a bar, drinking beer and eating burgers. We had some lovely burgers yesterday. Yum yum.
The closest they got to Switzerland for me was the cheese.
Yes, that was about it. Oh dear.
But nice to see you, Tim, and thank you for popping in. I know how busy you get.
Yeah.
Gonna say there's a lot of Fen people on today. I will point out I'm a Fenman myself.
Yes.
But there we are. So what's the topic, everyone? Don't forget to lead the conversation.
No, because Nick and I could sit here for hours just going on like this, but you know.
Yeah. But it helps if it's your subject. Now, obviously, I know that me and Tony obviously chat during the week. And
let me just
you'll find
and sort the dog out.
I'll just let everyone know about our chat yesterday. And hello to Sherry Ann, all the way from the South of France. Hello, Sherry Ann. And Kaz, all the way up north in Scotland, laying on my bathroom floor after I went mental at a week. Yes, I saw the pictures. I don't blame you, darling. And good afternoon to Michelle Ross.
Oh, I wish I could. I do wish I could, but yeah, he's 5.5 months old and he's a bugger. But no, this week there's been a few things caught my eye, but it's how to be a midwife to the doggies. I could use that information.
Yes.
I think. I'm not too sure, but I think we'll find out. Now, there's been a lot going on in the news, but I don't really want to go too far down that path because
No.
it could get heavy and again.
Yes.
And I don't want it to, but what I will say is people with positions of authority, power, influence really, really need to choose their language really carefully. Although actually no, that's wrong, because they obviously had picked their language really, really carefully to get exactly the effect they wanted. Which is an interesting topic in itself, about how you can say something in such a way that you incite exactly the response you want from people.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. And Michelle says, what they are saying needs to be carefully thought about. That's half the problem sometimes, because occasionally it is. There are times I've kicked off about words being used that haven't deliberately been used that way. There are certain words that mean really good things in the English language. When misused and not very well placed, they can come across as very, very bad. For instance, one of those words that we use in spiritualism, purity. That's a really, really good example of a word that can be used really, really well, but also really, really bad. Because when we talk about a purity of thought, of conscience, a purity of action, a purity of deed, that can be very, very good. But when we talk about the purity of our way of life, the purity of our conscience, that it's walking a very dangerous path. And I know you know which one I'm on about.
Yes.
But it wasn't deliberate, so you can get over that. But
Yes.
when people pay people in a full-time job 3 times more than I earned when I was a petrol station manager sometimes, to then come up with words that are characterizing in such a way that can mean two things but are deliberately being used to scare and spook people, I think that is where we are at a very, very dangerous path. Don't worry, darling. Lisa's just dropped a cup of tea. Shelley says, I always take things the wrong way, then I get upset and it's annoying. Sometimes you don't take things the wrong way, because some people deliberately do this. I think we have to be careful to measure the situation. There we go. There we go. I know that is. There was 4 there for double each. But there we go. Words can accidentally mean bad things, but so long as it's understood that it was accidentally, and that the way that the conversation then evolves reflects that, that's fine. Because people don't realize they're necessarily saying that. I say the wrong thing all the time. But many words can mean different things. Tim says the word clairvoyance is misused in Europe. Clairvoyance means psychic, and rightly so. In England, clairvoyant meant mediumship, which, when indeed the act of clairvoyance is a psychic ability. See, this is the thing. There are people use the word clairvoyance. They say an evening of clairvoyance to describe an evening of mediumship, and it used to bug me. It really, really did. I'm a little bit older and more jaded now, so it doesn't get on my nerves as much. But you're absolutely right.
When you think it's a breakdown of mediumship, isn't it? Because it's pure vision, isn't it?
Voyance is vision, clear seeing,
clear seeing.
Yeah.
So it's an ability, because it used to bug me as well, Nick, because I used to say to people, but I don't just see, I can hear as well and feel spirit. And it's like, no, we just mean mediumship. It's like, yeah, but it's not just me. Anyway, there we go. Like you said, when you get past your mid-20s, as I am, clearly, you do sort of think, oh, whatever, just, I know what I do, and people sat in front of me know what I do. So yeah, Michelle, that's just what I was saying. It's clairaudience,
See, this is where words can cause problems.
Yeah.
Because in the wrong environment and with the wrong people, this could suddenly descend into a whole massive argument about who's right and who's wrong. Now, I know within enough reason, everyone involved who comes on here aren't like that. But in the wrong environment, it could become a sudden massive row. But the point is this: the clairs are psychic senses used by mediumship. So you've got the clairvoyance, which is the clear seeing, the clairaudience, which is the clear hearing. You've got the clairsentience, which is the clear feeling. You've got the claircognizance, which is the clear knowing. There's more than the three clairs. There's I can't remember them all. There are loads, and they will reflect all the senses. So as mediums, we use our psychic senses to communicate with the world of spirit.
Sorry, Michelle.
Yes. Poor Michelle's now got it's spreading like wildfire. But do we spend, and this is you see, this contradicts what we've said in the past, but I'm going to put it out there. Do we spend too much time focusing on terminology rather than just getting on with the meaning, which would then potentially do away with the problems that we've seen this week with terminology being abused?
Yes,
and I will just say, because I'm not afraid of saying it, and I don't want to go down that absolute rabbit hole like you said yourself. But when we use words that have double meanings, for example, the term cannibalize can mean dismantle and reuse, but it also means something else. And it is very much a dangerous thing when we deliberately do that. And people in authority, whether the speech is written for them or not, should take a little bit of responsibility for the fact that they're the ones opening their gob. And that's all I'm saying on it. That's all I'm saying on it. I make mistakes in speech all the time, but I stand corrected.
But you're not paying somebody significant amounts of money to deliberately give you words that will incite that sort of response from people. But I think in terms of what we were talking about with the clairs and the psychics, I think for me, as long as there's the distinction between a psychic evening and a mediumship evening, I'm relatively okay. We did the fundraiser for the Rainbow Project at the Gallows pub in Thurcroft. Thank you, people, and we're doing another one next month. And she advertised it as an evening of mediumship, and me and Jean had that conversation about an evening of clairvoyance. Sorry, and Jean and I had the conversation like, do we ring them and say we're mediums? Or do we? And we decided to just leave it, and it was fine, and we had a great time. But yeah, I do have that thing when they advertise it as a psychic night with. Then I do that. I'm medium. I am psychic, but I am a medium, and I will be doing a demonstration of mediumship rather than a psychic evening. But I dare
to say thank you to Tim. This is something I've learned. The original phrase known as the 3 C's were coined by the Marquis of Pete Seeger. So thank you for that, Tim. Lovely. Yes. And hello, welcome to Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Good to see you, mate. And so I mean, this is the thing. Words have the power to help, and the words have the power to harm. They always have done. When we deliberately use them to harm, I think responsibility has to be taken. But then on the flip side of that, when it comes to people misspeaking, saying the wrong thing by accident, don't you think the world just needs to lighten up a bit?
Yep, I absolutely do, and it is something that takes some doing, because some people just can't help themselves. They are that pernickety and nitpicky that they just have to pick somebody up and say, "Oh, what you said actually didn't mean that. It meant this," and da da da. But yes, Lauren, that's where I was going to go with this. It's the intent that absolutely does it for me. We were in a school last week, beginning of last week, doing a presentation to their Pride group about the Rainbow Project and what we do, and part of that presentation was.
In that case, a good job I did 4 then, because I've caught me others out.
Yeah.
All inclusive.
We did say that if you saw somebody being beaten up in a schoolyard, you would go and pull them apart and try and intervene, or go and get a teacher or whatever. But if you see somebody being verbally attacked, you tend to just walk away, or it's just a bit of name calling, it's harmless fun, it's whatever. And the slide we put up said, whilst words don't physically damage, the wounds can last a long, long time. And I give an example of, I was called some things at school, and I had a bit of a rubbish time at school, and it's taken me till, I would say, over the last decade to put everything to bed.
Yes.
So, that's 40 years.
And some of us still haven't.
Exactly. But you are a little bit younger than me. You're a little bit younger than me.
Yeah. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Something happened yesterday that brought back a lot of memories. One of my teachers has passed away. He was very, very old. He's had a blooming good innings. He was over 90. And he was one of my teachers. Now, I myself, like many of us, were bullied at school. There was a lot of words thrown about. There was also a lot of fists and physical implements thrown about. And there was one incident that always stands out for me. A group of my so-called classmates all stood around in a circle and took turns to kick me in the back when they were the one behind me trying to stand up. And there was a lot of people around me. A lot. When it was stopped, it was by this teacher. Whilst I am grateful for that, what happened afterwards has lived with me longer than the physical pains. When the complaint was made that this was going on, the argument was given by this individual, well, he does talk some strange nonsense. Perhaps if he learned to keep his mouth shut, it wouldn't happen.
Victim blaming much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can still see you, Shelley, so you've not been kicked off the chat. I just haven't been clicking on anybody yet.
No, we've got a bit engrossed. But yeah, I have a similar thing. In a classroom, I was called a bent bastard.
Yes.
And I said, sir, they've just... And I was told to shut up.
Yes. Yes.
And I thought, oh, okay. That's how we're rolling, is it? But and when people say we've moved on, I'm getting a little bit emotional, sorry. When people say we've moved on, somebody disclosed that in this group that they were talking about in class about different things, and they were told, don't be silly, there's only men and women. And this child tried to say, but sir, no, because, and they were told, no, there are men and women. And the teacher that was running the group said, who was that? And the child said the name and said, what subject was that? Maths. Now, what? So, but Claire, it's not, because these teachers are coming out of college. This was a, what do you call them?
Student teachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they've just left college and they're doing like infill. Supply teaching.
It's been Section 28 was abolished, if I'm reminded correctly, in 90 something.
No, 2000 something, wasn't it?
Let me double check that.
But yeah, so it's still happening, but it's I still think that if you're not part of the solution, you are part of the problem.
Yes.
And I do agree with Nick that Tim, sorry, that thank God Martin Luther King did not bow down to the bullies. Thank God Mahatma Gandhi didn't. Thank God Jesus Christ did not bow down before bullies. Yes, Quentin Crisp. I watched The Naked Civil Servant when I was in my mid-teens, and I think that was a turning point for me.
Yeah.
Where I started to take ownership. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh God, that is awful.
And you know, my mother did. My mother did teach me to give as good as I got. Interestingly enough, I will go back to that comment about, you know, and certainly in relation to my incident, it was nothing to do with my sexuality. It was to do with this stuff. It was to do with mediumship.
Yeah.
He talks. I was in a Church of England school. I'm not going to deny. But for God's sakes, I was 8 or 9 years old. There's a and it can be anything. For instance, with Shelley's comment, I'm a single mum with no job and I'm depressed. My neighbour says I'm a lazy bee who has a screw loose. People really need to be careful. That's not necessarily about being careful what they say. That's about them stop being ignorant, frankly.
Yeah, that's about making assumptions about people. And to come back to the bullying, it's about anything that is seen as not, I don't want to say normal, but not in societal norms, I'll say. Anything that does not fit societal norms, anything which is seen as other, and anything which we can use as a scapegoat.
Yes.
And especially in uncertain times, as we are at the minute, with the cost of living and everything else that's going on, people are scared because I can't pay my bills. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make my mortgage payment at the end of the month. I don't know. Do I put the heating on for 2 minutes or do I feed the kids? It's all that type of stuff. People are in a state of flux, and when they're in a state of flux, they look for who is at fault? Where can we put the blame for this? Where does it sit? and when you see people in authority saying we can't stand on economics or anything else, we're going to have to stand on culture war and LGBTQ issues. You think, belt up, guys, in terms of fasten your seatbelts because we're in for a bumpy ride.
Yeah, on all slopes of it, and you know, I think Tim says, I think in society, if you're different, you're seen as a freak. Well, as a medium, I love being absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. No. And you know what? Embrace your difference. This is where we fix it. This is where we start. And this is what I was talking about. Yes, because for those who haven't had like 6 or 7 hours to read my post yesterday, I got a little bit carried away, didn't I, Tony?
Didn't you? Excited, didn't you?
We were talking about this, and I got my traditional yellow pad, and I started scribbling, and literally within about 10 minutes I'd written it all out, and it took about 5 minutes to edit after I'd typed it all out as well. Liminal spaces, liminality, are between places, between spaces that are neither one thing or the other, and can be scary depending on who portrays them. But they are also places of fond memory, of uplifting. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Shelley. Bless you. Julie says, I'm dyslexic, went through school feeling stupid. I'm over that now. Still get the odd grammar police that. Do you know what? And this is the thing. This is the thing. This is what really, really bugs me, because people like to single out the minutiae of detail, you know, and this is again part of the problem, as well as segregating the other. You know, people like to segregate the tiniest little detail, and this is where we fall down as a society. Rather than look, so long as I can work out what you're saying in a post or a comment, I don't expect you to correct yourself. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like with me and my phone, I'm bloody awful. You know, I'm hacking away with my thumbs, and then all of a sudden, you know, I can't spell you properly because I hit the T rather than the Y. And it just makes absolutely no sense. But I correct it, and by the time I've corrected it, people have said, "Well, I got what you meant anyway." You know, and this is the thing: when people march around like some kind of police state, when you know people wander and stalk the internet like some kind of digital Third Reich to say that we could and couldn't do this, should and shouldn't do that, must and must not do this, frankly, piss off. And I've got to say it as blunt as that, because we all need to realize that we are all uniquely equal and individual. We all need to realize that we are special and brilliant and wonderful in our own way, regardless of what others might see as a fault, as a flaw. I see something beautiful, something different, something wonderful, something to be praised and enjoyed and worked for. And if people can't get that, they need to take a long, hard look at themselves, because it is not us that they have a problem with. It is them, the bits of themselves that they can't deal with, can't understand, can't tolerate. And that is their problem, not ours. So, as you know, the wonderful Tim said, I enjoy being a freak. I embrace my freakiness now. I live by my freakiness now. But what we need to do as a people, what we need to do as a society, is say enough. We together united are louder than any one solitary individual with thousands of pounds to throw at speech writing and a video camera. We as a society have the power. We have the strength. We have the uniqueness and the community around us to be able to stand up and make a difference. And this is what we must do. And we should never rest on our laurels. We should never be afraid to be ourselves. And the minute anyone makes you feel afraid to be yourself, those are the ones you've got to question.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes the enemy does wear a smiley face.
Yep.
Sorry,
Exactly.
got carried away there.
No. You were on a roll there. I didn't want to interrupt. But no, I completely agree. And this is where Jason's just walk away from them and walk towards the good and leave the bad behind you. Bravo, young man. Well said.
See, thanks. You could have put that up about 5 minutes ago, so I could have said that and saved myself my throat.
But when you're talking about these liminal spaces, whilst they're a place for looking back, for reflection, for fond memories, they're also a place to be excited and think about what's coming. Not what are we afraid of? What can we pick out? Who can we blame for this state of unrest that we're in and unsettlement that we're in? It's a God, this is exciting. Where can we go? What could be coming next? You know, and the opportunities that are coming. But as soon as we get trapped in this state of anxiety and fear, we're vulnerable to these people who want to take advantage of that and steer us in a direction that years down the line we might think, how the hell did we end up here? Or, you know, or even worse, you get people saying, but I was just doing my job. Which is something that, having worked in government as a civil servant, you hear rather a lot, but it's our job to do this. In fact, actually, it's not. It's our job to be a human being. And then, you know, it's but it's those shades of grey, John, that I love. It's those shades of grey that give you the wiggle room to try new things, to be excited about new things. It's the, I'm going to use the word, the binary that causes the problem. And when people are trying to stick to the binary, the black and the white, the good and the bad, that's when you lose the essence of what it is to be human. Sorry, the dogs have now decided to play. But yeah, it's and I get so frustrated. I really get frustrated about it, because why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't it be a bit of both?
It's got to be. I mean, let's face it. If you break down white light into its relative components by throwing it through a prism, you get a rainbow. It's a whole community of color focused and made manifest as one great white light. Thank you for that. You know, and this is the thing. We are all part of something bigger and nobler and more wonderful than ourselves. And we have to be different. We have to be different. Uniqueness is a blessing, not a curse. And sometimes you can just get away with smiling sweetly, and it does shut them up because they're looking for a reaction. I totally agree, Eunice. But then you get my old head teacher who was quite happy to blame me for the fact that I was getting my back kicked by every single, you know, person just because I was different. It took me a long time to get over that, and yesterday made me realize that I still hadn't. I'd got over the physical, but I hadn't gotten over the fact that I had no help.
It's that emotional scarring of, hang on, this isn't right, this isn't just, this isn't, you know, it isn't good. And Lisa Hunt, I do think that they are scared and they are hurting, but that's not an excuse. That there is no excuse for making somebody else feel less than, other than, outside of. There's no excuse for that. And yes, while turning the other cheek, as we've been taught, is a valid way of dealing with things, it even says in the good book that there comes a time when a good man has to take a stand. And I don't want to get political again, but I do feel we are coming to that point where we have to look at what's going on in the bigger picture and say, is this right? Is it right that these people want to do this without getting into specifics? Should people be dreaming of exporting people like they're a ton of cattle? Should people be dreaming and cackling about it in photographs? It's scary, and it's we know there's a problem, but when you look at, and this is an interesting fact that we saw yesterday and I shared with Reverend Nick, if you look at net migration is 500,000. Illegal, not illegal, because there isn't an illegal way to claim asylum. There are only legal ways to claim asylum. But that is only 40,000. Now, as a percentage, is it a big issue? Is it a big issue? But this is where we've been focused by people who know they haven't got anything else to fight with. So they're fighting with, these are other, and they're bad, and they shouldn't be. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to get political.
Lisa, I don't know why I'm pointing at it, because you can't see me pointing at it. Because
no, I do that. It's like, this comment is brilliant.
But no, it's not an excuse. People have to learn that you can't take out your problems. I totally agree. But I think there was one moment in what I wrote yesterday where I said something about dramatization and sensationalizing. I had a massive row with myself. I will be honest, I did try and video it for everyone, because, you know, to actually read it out loud took less than about 7 minutes, which I thought would be great. But I sat here and I deleted the video, so tough, you're never going to see it. You're fine. You go. You get. Yeah. I sat having a massive argument with myself because I put dramatization and sensationalization. I was like, there's no such word. So in the end, I got sensationalism. But it's the point, you know, that people do like to dramatize and sensationalize various different aspects of life just to make it into a big thing, when it really isn't a big thing. You know, people can quote statistics left, right, and center, and you can make up statistics left, right, and center, but you can also paint statistics that don't give you what you want in a way that will make it sound like it is what you want. For example, if I said, my survey said, out of 100 people, this is like Family Fortunes now, out of 100 people questioned, are they happy with Nick's hair? I'm trying to be as non-sensationalizing as possible. So out of 100 people, 40 people said that they were happy with Nick's hair. So statistically, the majority don't like my hair. Okay, so but if I want to keep my hair the way I want to keep it, almost I could say over a third of people are more than happy with what Nick's doing with his hair. And because I've painted it that way, over a third of people are more than happy with what Nick's doing with his hair, then that statistic is rolled into how I want to perceive that information.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. And I can see, yes, we will definitely have a pot. Thank you very much, darling.
Yeah,
and hello, Daniel. Love the shave, by the way.
Yes, it's good, isn't it?
So Paul, hello, Paul. Paul has said the simple problem boils down to one aspect, fellas: wealth distribution. Yes, maybe locally, but internationally. You can imagine if we lived in a free, just society, global community, where there is no poverty, no fighting, everyone having food and shelter and healthcare for all, it would be amazing. But unfortunately, that means in order to have a utopia, some people have got to give something up, because it's not about equality, it's about equity. I completely agree. And equity requires people to surrender in order to everyone.
They ain't going to do that. Yeah.
Liz not only corrects people's spelling, she also corrects me on quite a few things, but I don't mind, because my brain can't handle sentences, especially sentences that start every single word with a capital. I do that to her a lot just to wind her up. Trained into the process of smooth sentencing and spelling mistakes. So I don't want to be mean, but this is, sometimes we do it because we can't handle what we're seeing. I used to work with someone who used to get really ratty at me. If I was frustrated, I would get a piece of paper and start doing this and start poking holes through the paper. Right? I used to do this. And he used to really lose it with me. Not because of what I was doing, but because he was phobic to holes.
Oh.
There's a phobia where you're phobic to a great many holes. Like, for instance, he couldn't eat an arrow to save his life.
Yeah, because it's got holes in it. Yeah.
Because it's got all of those holes in it.
Paul's sitting in his sick bed.
Oh, and because I've got behind now. Oh, no. Bless you. Well, we will send you healing thoughts. Healing thoughts, mate. I kind of dragged myself at 11:30 out of bed to come and do some work, but I'd much rather be in bed right now.
Got a text. I'll send you the link in a bit. I've just got up. Oh, Oh, dissent in the ranks. Stace says, not sure I agree, Shelley. Some cases maybe, but from a counselling point of view. Next one up.
Next one up.
Stace's previous one. I've got. Why am I clicking on it? I haven't got control. I can't.
Oh, I'll have to work at that. So not sure I agree, Shelley. Some cases maybe for a counselling viewpoint, people take it out on those that they know are safe. By safe, there is an element of that, but there is also an element that some people like to brutalize those that they know they can get away with it. I have been one of them. I have been one of them.
And the ones that they know they can maybe are a bit of a softer touch and they can get a bit more tea and sympathy, if you like. So, yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that as well.
I have to admit, this sums it up.
This is the tea. This is the tea. This is it. Yeah.
It's a cold, hard world out there. Be happy with yourself. It helps, and it's a start. Absolutely agree. And, you know, it's really, really important. Once again, we're at risk of putting everything in the same bracket. That, you know, because everyone has different experiences and understanding, we tend to get drawn to those experiences and understanding. But there is no one particular reason for things happening. You know, for example, as a gay man, I've been, you know, beaten and abused by someone who was gay themselves because they were afraid of themselves. They weren't using me as someone who they thought could handle it. They were taking it out on me because I represented everything that they didn't like about themselves.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say that every person who beats up somebody who beats up someone for being gay doesn't mean they're all gay. Sometimes they're just bigots. So it's always, it's very, very dangerous to put everybody in one bracket. Tony's dad, have a wonderful afternoon. God bless.
Can I just ask for healing for them, please? Because Dad's on antibiotics again.
Oh, bless.
Chest and chest issue. My mum's got scarring on her lungs, and blah, blah. It's boggling my brain. Bless them. It really is boggling my brain. Yeah, if you're happy with your hair, Nick.
I don't give a damn about me hair. It was just kind of like a fun way of, you know, not upsetting anybody with a statistic.
And I love that final bit.
Yeah.
I promise I won't ask you to wear it.
I once considered getting a t-shirt. Now, he will understand what I'm about to say now, because I'm going back to a time when he had hair. Love you, Tim. He had a catchphrase when he come and served us. And I actually did consider one time getting a t-shirt and wearing it to church when he came and served us once, saying, "Yes, Tim." Because that was kind of a catchphrase that he had. I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but it just came out that way. And we used to have to say, "Yes, Tim." And so whenever I see Tim's name, I will always say, "Yes, Tim," because it's just something I've always done. And I actually consider once getting a t-shirt with that on.
Yes, Tim.
And I personally think you look wonderful. You know, it's lovely, darling. Distinguished.
It can on the right person.
Yeah, me, it looks blooming. I look like Uncle Fester. I really, really do. I look awful, but I love it on other people. You know, I do. And I've got one congregation member, actually, Louise. She loves it when I shave my hair really, really short. So if I did my whole head like in the pandemic, she'd get really excited. Now I just stick to the sides and back for her. She loves that feeling when it's just like sandpaper.
Yeah.
So I walk in and she says, "Oh, let me touch your head," and it's like, okay.
I'm a bit like that. I do like when Michael has his really short. I do like to just rub the back of his head where it's like really, really, really short. It's like, oh, that feels so good. But yeah, thank you for the healing to my mum and dad. They're really not well, bless them at the minute, and they're going through it. But
bless them. But yeah, I think I should actually get a Yes Tim t-shirt. Shall I do that? Shall I get a Yes Tim t-shirt to wear for when next week? I'll get a Yes Tim t-shirt.
Yeah, yes, Tim.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a Yes Tim t-shirt. I love that.
Yeah.
God, the
Yeah.
things you remember.
I know.
Stay says, I understand that how people attack others because they see in others what they dislike in themselves, or because they want to be like the person that they are hating. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Michael Parker. Hello, Nick and Tony. Top discussion this afternoon. Totally agree with you. Both fantastic food for thought. You're very welcome.
Oh, thank you,
Good to see
Michael.
you. Thank
Oh,
you.
I thought he looks familiar, and it's Onslow.
It's Onslow. Oh,
It's
I love it.
Onslow.
I love
I was thinking,
Onslow.
Michael, where do I know your face from? And it's Onslow.
And what a great actor Onslow. Yeah,
Jason, where's my coffee? Jason makes me a cup of coffee. He says I was making a drink. Hope they're okay.
Tim, send a message. I will get Linda Brown, my mother. She's our medium secretary, to send you a message. Yes, Tim, to that. I would gladly have you back on our platform. It has been so long. And I would so love to have you on the platform, mate. You would be more than welcome. I'll get mother to get in touch. She is watching, so she'll remind me. I'm assuming she's talking about me, Ed, now.
I think so, yeah. Yes, Rev Nick.
Yeah.
Says yes, Rev Nick.
Bless you. There we go. It's confirmed.
Done.
Little bit of church housekeeping going on, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But there you go. Nice advertising. Everyone, at some point, we're going to have Tim Abbott on the platform. I loved cheering for Tim.
I will be watching.
I don't know whether I've actually. Oh, here we go. I've said something now. I just for comfort and expedience, I'm an extra large. And
there you go. There's the website.
Any color, not white. Any color that's not white. I don't do well in white. I'm not pure anyway, so it'd be a lie.
Having the pooches, I can't wear white.
Yeah. Now, Mum, remind me, 58 minutes and 52 seconds. There's the email address we need. And it was at 17:02. There we go. So it's there now. Getting lots of
we have a question. Liz Wackers.
Aha. So I have a fair tomorrow and I'm nervous about using mediumship. Any tips?
Can I?
Yes, go for it.
Trust the nerves. Yeah. I would always say trust the nerves. If you've got nerves, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. It's what keeps us in check, isn't it?
If I ever walk into a church and I haven't got the butterflies and the churny stomach, I'll turn around and walk straight back out.
Yeah.
So I would, because I would know spirit weren't with me and it wasn't going to be a good night, because I know they use that energy to keep you there in the moment, and if you lose it, you've lost it.
Yeah.
That's just my humble two penneth worth.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Actually, I couldn't agree more. And you know I agree with that because I've said it myself in the past.
You have, and the other thing I would say is trust spirit, because they're going to come. They want to come and talk to the people that they loved. They're not going to leave you standing there like a muppet. They're really not. So yeah, it just trust spirit. Go with it.
So we've had an offer. Nick and Tony should come on and talk philosophy in the showcase in October. Right. I will say it is.
Right.
Stace, just in all seriousness, I would love to. However, just check in with Richard, because it's always I don't like taking over, and if I'm going to be in twice a week, you know, I just like Richard to know about it. So just check with him first. If not, he can always come on and we can have a philosophy chat on the Monday show and bring Jill into it, my new co-host. But if Richard's happy, I'm happy. Absolutely yes. Yes, Rev Nick. Can I be cheeky, Nick and Tony, and say to the lady, too many mediums look for the evidence for the company of spirit. Any evidence will naturally come. Yes,
Yep.
you can be
Bravo.
cheeky, because that's not being cheeky, it's being helpful, mate. You carry on.
It is. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. I quite often, I get the butterflies, like I said, and I know I'm ready. But quite often, until I've got up and said the opening prayer and done my philosophy and sat down and they're singing the hymn, I've got nothing. No spirit with me at all. Get up on my feet and it just comes. So don't get yourself hung up on, haven't got a link.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
A young lady we've been working with to develop a mediumship, she doesn't get anything till she's on her feet. She'll stand up and say, I've got nothing, but there's a lady with you over there, darling, and da-da-da-da-da. So she just knows. As soon as she gets up and opens her mouth, the link comes and it's there. And I've got to say, the evidence she's giving at the minute is pretty damn good. Damn good. She's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. And I'll add to that. I know also that honesty matters greatly too. I'm aware, I mean, it sounds like one of these old-fashioned, legends that never really happened that everyone talks about. But I guarantee you at least this go back to the statistics thing. This is a made-up statistic. But I guarantee you at least 8 out of 10 people will have heard this story in some way, shape or form, about that one medium who has stood up in church and said, I'm really sorry, I haven't got anything, and sat back down. And I would have more faith and trust in that medium for being honest about it.
Yeah.
Than trying to force it. This is, I'll be honest with you, I've changed a lot over the last 12 months regarding my work and my opinions. Can't think why. But one of the things that I used to be really, really anti was using tarot cards. But I've actually found that they're quite useful. If you're having a bad day, if you've got a headache, if you get stuck, you really shouldn't be working anyway. But if you need something to trigger you off, to help you get flowing, they will make use of these things. So long as you don't rely on the book. Every student I have, I tell them, if you want to buy some cards, tarot cards, oracle cards, whatever, burn the book. No, don't burn the book. Just put it in a shelf. But don't bother reading it. Don't bother reading it, because they'll make use of the symbols and shapes in it.
I've made little bags for mine.
Yes.
I've only got a couple of decks, but I've got them in bags. And all of the books are, I think, in a box on top of the wardrobe in the spare bedroom. And I've never even opened them, ever.
Yeah.
One I have, because I bought it donkeys years ago. We were in Glastonbury, and I bought some Arthurian legend cards.
Oh, yes.
They're beautiful. I've got one tattooed on my back, actually.
Oh, wow.
They're very Celtic and gorgeous. And I read the book because I was like, oh, I don't know what this is all about. I don't know what tarot is. Yeah. So let's read the book. So I read the book and I thought, I'll never remember all of this. I'll just see what happens. And I now use them, as Nick says. Spirit use the shapes, the imagery, the change the wording around for me sometimes as well.
Yeah.
It's weird because I can see what it says, but what comes out of my mouth is something completely different. So, interesting.
Absolutely.
Oh, AD, let's not open the reincarnation can of worms, because we could be.
I'll discuss with. I'll tell you what. We'll do that on Monday at Circle, because I know.
I was going to say we could do that.
Or next week, yes.
Next week as well.
We'll start that off with next week.
Or I'll make a note of it. We could jot it down. We could do a pre-record and do a podcast.
That's a wonderful idea. There we go. Absolutely good idea.
Oh, yes, I've seen that, Tim. Sorry, I've just read Tim's post.
Yeah.
I have seen mediums work where they start on And I've done it myself, to be honest. I'll get up and I'll say, look, I've got a psychic link with you and I can see da 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 da. And as I'm giving that psychic evidence, then the link develops. And that's very much as I was saying with the tie-dye thing. You start with the touch and the feel and the bits you get in from the blobs of colour on the tie-dye, and then the link comes.
Yes.
And it gives you that boost.
And in actual fact, as much as I had, problems with psychic implements, which I don't anymore, I've grown as a human being. Absolutely right, Tim. Gordon always, virtually always went in on a psychic link when he was doing a big demo. Even my mentor Lynn, she used to say to me, look, if you're having a rough time, go in on a psychic level. It will kickstart the spirit. So you're absolutely, yes, Tim, you're absolutely right. I'm going to get that t-shirt. I know I am now.
Yes,
absolutely right. And they can be made use of. John uses tarot as a link, but didn't mean
he does. Yes, he
perfect. Does. Yes. We are not yet.
Not yet. Watch your space.
And there's nothing wrong with relying on psychism. I know look, in the history of time, I might have disagreed with what I've just said, but I'm allowed to be wrong sometimes, and I'm allowed to grow up as I get older. There's nothing wrong with relying on psychism, so long as that's what you tell people you're doing.
Yep.
So long as you are honest with yourself and others about how
honesty again
you work. Kaza, she's jumped over to YouTube so we can see who she is. Take care, Kaza.
Bye, Kaza.
You take care. You have a rest. And don't let that rather silly, ridiculous gentleman get you down, hon. Take it steady, hon. It's not a silly question at all. Hang on. Not a silly question at all, no. Daniel. Yes, they can. Depending. Everyone has the ability. Everyone has the potential. Whether we are open enough whether we are open and honest enough with ourselves to develop that, then that's why some people don't develop as a medium and some do. But everyone, it's a God-given gift, a God-given right. And we started out by talking about the psychic senses that are used by mediumship of, it's funny that they reflect the physical senses of that. It's just another way of communicating that everyone has within them, which is why throughout the whole of time and space, there has been, and the other life. So, yes, making it as short as possible. Yes, they can. I believe so.
Yeah. Large and any colour.
There you go. I have to say, Eunice and Tony are very, very good at producing clothing. Did you ever see that shirt? It's in the laundry at the moment because I've been wearing it all week. That black shirt that I've got with the Alliance logo on it.
Yes.
It's embroidered. That was what Eunice and Tony did for me. It was beautiful.
Oh, wonderful.
It's one of my favourite shirts because it's Fruit of the Loom. It's very comfortable. In actual fact, not that my congregation literally keep me in clothes, but I'm actually wearing a pair of trousers that Tony and Eunice gave me right now. Scary, that, isn't it? So this really has gone off the rails, but I don't care. It's fun, and it's upliftment, I think, as well.
It is. Daniel's just put "I feel and see things," and just wondering if it would be good to try and open that side up. You can try and open it up by all means, matey, but be safe. Do it with somebody who you trust.
Here.
If you've got a local church or centre nearby, have a look, see what they do. Nick does some online stuff.
Yes, I do online circles.
Yeah. So
I'm going to be doing some guided meditations that will be available through Spotify, actually.
Yes.
And it looks like everyone's going to have T-shirts saying Rev, Nick, and Tony's team.
Are they official clothing suppliers for the Revs upcoming?
Do you know what? Actually, I'm gonna, because they are able to do designs. They are able to do designs, and are very reasonably priced too. So what I will say is this. This particular image here, which is basically our logo.
Mm-hmm.
I will give it to them and see if there's anything that they can do, if they want to. And
Spiritline T-shirt.
yeah, there we go. Spirit. So if people really want a T-shirt with our mugs on it, then yeah, you really have started something now, Eunice.
Yes.
But I only popped on for a few whilst I ate dinner. Back to sleeping off this cold for me. Be safe. Take care,
Be
Stace.
safe.
You be steady.
Yeah.
That was the pick I meant. Shelley says, yeah. You know what? If it's possible, if it's doable in some way, if people really want a T-shirt with Spiritline and our mugs, yeah, I would. To be fair, I'm not going to deny it. Hold the line, caller. Yeah, absolutely. What have we started? What really have we started?
Can I just quickly, before we do wrap up, have you seen the meme on Facebook where they've got a seance and the phones are all on the table and it's like, if anybody's there, text now?
Yes. Yes.
I think that's beautiful. I think it's like, yay. Oh yeah, with a purple collar and I'm
gonna say,
oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
There we go. Look at that. No problem. They're coming. And yes, Dawny, I will do what I can. I will do, because all of my circles are in the daytime at the moment, but I am looking at having a bit of a swap round.
Somebody did message, actually, I don't know if you saw it, Nick, and said, Nick, could I join your circle, please?
No, I didn't. Where was that?
A bit further up. Let me scroll and see if I can see it. Somebody did say, could I join one of your circles, Nick? Yes, Lisa Hunt.
Lisa, yes. There we go. I found it. Yes. Drop me a private message after the show. And we'll speakings, and I am going to look into doing an evening circle for the likes of everyone who has a job.
Not everybody's got the luxury like us, Nick, of not.
Yeah, everyone who either has a job or a nice job that doesn't make you work nights.
Yes. Kerry Farmer as well.
Yeah. Just drop me, everyone who's interested in joining a new circle that I'm going to open up in the evenings. Just drop me a private message, and once I've got the details worked out, I'll let you all know. I love my circles. They keep me going. There you go.
Gosh. Is this hang on. Has this become the Nick's advertising and
I know. Yeah, and this is the thing. During the day, there are many people who it does work in the favor that they are able to do it during the day. But I used to be on shift work myself, so it's not always practical. Because being on shift work, I could never guarantee a single day during the week. Now this is my job. I can do it whenever.
Yeah. I found actually that having a mix of daytime services and evening services works really well, because people who are on shifts can catch you when they're in the right shift, and then they catch you. But Lisa, I'm sorry, I completely misread that message, and I thought, oh, no, Lisa Wacker's down the bottom.
Oh, hang on.
What I read was, your circles are too dear, love. And I thought, no, I'm not.
I'm going to say my circles are only £4.
Oh.
I can put your logo on a pillar candle. Way.
You can
do I detect a Spiritline shop opening?
Yes. An Etsy shop.
Look, I will just to cheer everybody up and bring just before. Oh, Onslow again. Sorry for the deep question at the end, but can spirit attach itself with such a force that you wouldn't be able to release the force or get spiritual experience? It's not a silly question, because a lot of people need it answered, and it's actually a simpler question for me than it used to be. I will say that so long as you know the rules, no, it can't happen.
Yeah.
But it can only happen if you don't know the rules. And the rules are, your space is your space. Your body, your soul is your environment, your closeness, your circle, your whatever you want to call it. Nothing can invade that without your permission. But the only way for that to be known is to know the rule. So it can happen. Doesn't happen very often, but it can happen.
No.
But so long as you know the rules, no one can be in your space without your permission.
No.
They can't.
No.
As my old teacher used to say, any medium worth their salt knows that if it's their space, and everyone else can bugger off. I love the way she put it.
Yeah. And that's it exactly, isn't it? It's about, and I hate to say it like this, but I have heard it said sometimes that spirit needs you. So they're not going to do anything to pee you off. So if you tell them the bedroom is my space and you do not invade that space, they should adhere to that. And if they don't work with them.
Yeah. Although I will say that I don't mind them being in the bathroom.
No.
Because I do some of my best writing on the bog.
Okay. Yep.
You know, I actually asked about that, and they said spiritually we see you light. As your spirit cleanses the same as your body does, we see your light grow. And so, this is it. So there we go.
Can I just say, we opened a can of worms, because when we said about an Etsy shop, Kerry said, yes, you should.
Yes.
Like we did when we said, but is it once a month is okay, isn't it? And they were like, no.
That's right. Of course. That's what I was going to say. It's funny, really, because there's been a new show that I've been watching that I really, really love. For those that I've already told this about, I apologize. For those that haven't, you're going to love it. It's called The Y Files. And AJ and Hecklefish. And I was looking through their merchandise. They've got their own merchandise and everything, and it's brilliant. A mug that says lizard people, because that's one of Hecklefish's favorite phrases, and all stuff like that. So it's not a surprise that suddenly merchandise has come up.
No.
But you know what? Do you know what I think is the best part of it? That you guys are part of the process. And if that's going to happen, Kerry can make the candles and she could get a little bit out of it. Eunice and Tony can make the clothing and they can get a little bit out of it, and what have you. So anyone who's got a talent or skill that they'd like to make some use of and get themselves a few quid out of, we'll do an Etsy shop. Why not?
Exactly.
And if it spreads the word of spirit, then even better.
Exactly. 2 for 1, people. 2 for 1. We love a 2 for 1. Thumbs up from Kerry there.
There we go.
Well, I'm going to have to sign off in a moment because I can smell my dog needs to go out.
No problem. I need to go and freshen up before tea as well.
Yes. And I've got to think about feeding my mother-in-law.
You had. Oh. Thank you for loaning him out to us this afternoon, mother-in-law.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Irene.
and I apologise, the dogs as well. I thank you for loaning him out to us as well. I got a funny look for that. There we go. Hello. Hello.
She's a good girl, aren't you, sweetheart?
She is.
I think she's just weed. Sorry,
Oh, I better get off.
And on that note, I will say God bless to you and to everyone at home. Thank you all so much. But for now, because he needs to go and clean some pee, it's good night from him.
And it's good night from me. Good night.
No, I'm hoping I'm wrong for a minute.
Lizard people.